Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today I have Justin Lam on with me. Very amazing business that this guy has. It's called Cool Blue VA. So go to the website coolblueva.com. Actually, this is a sponsorship edition. I really want to drive business to Justin. And if you guys are watching this and you say, I need what this guy does, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or him. Send a message to the website, send a message to me through personal message. Contact me because you guys need what this guy is doing. Go ahead, Justin.
How's it going, James? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. And, you know, I got a chance to, I do something for our sponsors called $1 Million Call. We took a deep dive into his processes and really got granular with how he can help chiropractors with his business. But before we jump into Justin's story about how he started working with chiropractors and helping chiropractors, I'll let you know our big why. Why do we do what we do? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. We believe it's so important. I know personally what it feels like to be traffic throttled and shadow banned and censored, and I would never want that for you. So that we create a platform that focuses on freedom of speech. And we do believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. Justin, coming from a medical family, I know that it's really cool that we support people having access and knowledge for how to take care of themselves and their family. My first recommendation is if you don't have somebody helping you, is go find a chiropractor and let them give you advice on how to take care of you and your family's health. We do really support philosophy with Chiro Hustle as well. And we do support what we call the sacred trust. It's BJ Palmer's last words. If you don't know who BJ Palmer is, he was the developer of chiropractic. He was the son of the first chiropractor. And he wrote his last written words were called the sacred trust. It's a very important piece to chiropractic philosophy of where we are today with the profession. So go over to the show notes, click on sacred trust. I guarantee you're going to learn more about this profession than you did previously. We do support subluxation-based chiropractic. I know I shouldn't have to say these things, but they're removing subluxation and philosophy out of chiropractic education in colleges. So if you know a chiropractic student out there, please share the show with them because they're going to get a different take on the chiropractic profession than what they're getting through their education at those universities. And then last, we believe in innate intelligence and universal intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual, which creates educated intelligence. And with that, this is Cool Blue VA, Justin Lam, episode 713 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me once again. Excited to be here.
Yeah, you know, I didn't know a lot about what you were doing when we were both at the Cal Chiro seminar, and I brought my team out there with me, and one of my team members, Rich, had a chance to meet you, and he told me what you were doing. And I think it's a much needed part for the chiropractic profession is helping support chiropractic business, which helps supports, you know, chiropractic lifestyles and helps support the doctor and the quality of life at home too. But before we get into talking chiropractic business, maybe share with me a little bit about how you got introduced to chiropractic.
Yeah, absolutely. As you had mentioned, James, like I come from a family of doctors, so I've always known about chiropractors. But really 4 years ago, I have had personal experience with chiropractors from there. So I was actually out in Mexico in Cabo San Lucas, and I was golfing out there. And I made the mistake to do 2 18 holes back to back. I hadn't golfed in a while, and it was a really beautiful course. And so I played the first day. I played 18, felt good, felt great. And said, I play this. I want to play this course again, right? And so the next day I got up, played the back 18 again, played the 18 again, and then I felt okay. I was a little tired at the end of the day. The third day I woke up, I couldn't get out of bed. I was like in so much pain. My back had seized up, like I couldn't move, you know. And so I was talking to my brothers and sisters, they're all doctors, says, hey, I can't move. Like, what do I do? Like, help me out. And it's like, oh, just put some heat on it, take some Tylenol, ibuprofen is going to go away, right? So I'm just here stuck in beautiful Mexico. It's great outside. I'm just laying in my bed. And I was literally in my bed for like 3 days. I still couldn't move. I was in so much pain and nothing was helping. So I was like, all right, I got to go do something, So I found a chiropractor in downtown Cabos, actually, and I took a taxi there because I couldn't drive, so I took a taxi there, and I couldn't. There's no way I was going to get on a flight to go home. It's just impossible. So I just stay there. I saw the chiropractor, and I saw him basically for like 4 days in a row, and he just adjusted me, and like literally by the end of the week, I was feeling great. He gave me some exercises to do. I flew home, and I still do those exercises today to help my back out. But then I also don't play back-to-back 18s anymore. I learned my lesson doing that too. But yeah, that really sold me on chiropractic and chiropractors. You guys have a special place in the medical field. It's definitely a necessity. And so you guys really have a soft spot for me from there.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes funny hearing other people's stories about how they got into this profession, but it also gives people a lot of clarity too, that chiropractic's global.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of your business too, is you have a global impact that's helping chiropractors from abroad. And I think that that's a big thing that people just generally don't know, that there's chiropractors are all over the world. And I think it's cool that you found somebody to practice down in Mexico. Were they Mexican chiropractor or American chiropractor practicing in Mexico?
So he's American. He was like semi-retired, and he just moved down to Cabos, and he just operates a few days a week. But he kind of made an exception for me, as I saw him like a few days in a row. But usually he just works like 3-4 days a week, but he just loves chiropractic, chiropractic medicine, and so he just like retired and then just moved down there and practiced. Yeah,
that's cool. I'm always curious how people find chiropractors wherever they go, because everywhere I go, I usually have somebody that practices in every city I go to. But tell people a little bit about the business that you do with Cool Blue VA, and why everybody should consider having a medical VA.
Yeah. So Cool Blue VA offers virtual assistants, chiropractic virtual assistants, to really help your practice out with anything that you need short of touching a patient. So, if you need help answering phones, customer service, scheduling appointments, insurance verifications, it's designed to help you do all of that. Really, if you're looking to get back 32 hours of your life every week, that's what we're here for, is to help you out. I know nowadays, chiropractors, they're saddled with student loans. They're struggling to make ends meet. They're spending a lot of time, at home, taking notes, doing admin work, doing busy work. All this stuff is stuff that you, as a chiropractor, should not necessarily be doing. You should be spending your time taking care of people, healing people, taking care of patients, right? And all that stuff that leads to burnout, leads to you, having trouble at home, missing your kids' events, soccer practices, recitals and whatnot. All of that stuff should be handed off to somebody at a very affordable rate, so that you can really focus on what you love to do, what you went to school to do, and you can save money while you're doing it. All right. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. As I got to know your brand a whole lot better, I do realize that everybody is looking for support. I hear people like, hire slow, fire fast. And, or if you hire somebody wrong, it can damage your business for up to 2 years. And I know that you do a great promo for matching and placing VAs with the chiropractic clinics. Talk about your 2-week free trial.
Yeah. We offer a 2-week free trial to all our Chiro Hustle listeners. And really, that's just to make sure that you're going to be satisfied with the virtual assistant that you're going to be bringing on into your team here. We know your business is super important to you. We know that you want to make sure that your virtual assistant is part of your family, part of your team is going to be a great fit for you. And that's why we offer 2 weeks where you can work with your virtual assistant directly for 40 hours a week. That's 80 hours in total of free work. Make sure it's going to be a good fit for you. That's $800 in value that you can get for absolutely free, just to make sure it's going to be a good fit. Make sure the virtual assistant is going to work for you.
So how do you determine what tasks for each practitioner to give to the VA and start training on?
Yeah, every practice is different. The needs of every practice are different, right? Some people are going to need more help with insurance. Some people are going to need more help with, customer service. I mean, if you know what you need, that's great. You can just tell us what you need, But if you just are drowning and you need help, you don't know what's going on, which way is up, you need help, just give us a call. We'll do a discovery call. We'll sit down. We'll do a little bit of a practice analysis. See what your pain points are, see what the priorities are, see what you need to hit, and then see if a virtual assistant can help you out with that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, that discovery option, because so many people have different pain points.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to support somebody until they start telling you like how things really are. And then when you hear their stories about like, look, I'm doing chart notes on the weekends and I'm not watching my kid's soccer game, like you mentioned, or, I'm staying at the clinic, doing insurance verifications and I'm there past our scheduled hours because of this, or I'm not getting this done, or I'm not doing reactivation calls. So you're probably going to find out very quickly what areas that you can support a chiropractor with to help their business flow better.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why we have a practice analysis to find out. I mean, if you just think about it yourself right now and say, hey, if I didn't have to do one thing ever again, in my business, I'd be so much happier. All right. I mean, aside from adjusting a person, which I can't help you there, but if you were to think about that, and just have one thing and that you could take off your plate, I mean, that's already one step to making your life that much better, and making you that much happier. And that's what we're here to try and help people do.
Yeah, that's really cool. So ideal clients, single practitioner, one employee, no employees. What's an ideal client for you?
We help everybody, really, from single practitioners up to smaller groups. We've helped some franchises out as well. Everybody needs a little bit of help. Our heart really goes out to small practices and single practitioners. My brother and sister, they're medical doctors, but they opened up their own practice back in 2020. And it was at the beginning of the pandemic, and they were struggling to staff anybody, And so I was the operations manager for them at that time, and I had to find a solution to make things work for them, right? And so luckily we were able to get virtual assistants to help their practice out. And so now their practice has grown. They've hired on like 5 additional providers on top of them, So my heart really goes out to the small practices, to the practitioners. That's who I love to help out, small business owners, because they really are the backbone of America. They support, and that's really what makes America great, right? Is that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I've noticed with what you do is it has a downstream effect on the virtual assistant's life too. Like, not only are you making an impact for the actual chiropractor medical provider, but you're also making an impact on the other side of the story and helping give somebody a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. The Philippines is a third world country, so they're definitely struggling out there. And we're able to make a huge impact, a really positive impact on these virtual assistants' lives here. We do make sure that we get highly qualified individuals, so We go through 3 rounds of interviews for them, make sure that they're good, their English is good, they have good technology, technical requirements, they have good knowledge. And then we do put them through a extensive training program as well to make sure that they're up to date. And then we also like HIPAA train them and HIPAA certify them too, to make sure they're above board and everything's to code, you know. But really, if you were to get, a physical therapist or a nurse in the Philippines, they're getting paid at a hospital like $2 an hour, so they're getting paid really almost nothing, and we're paying them significantly better than that, so they're super happy to be working for you, and for us. And so they get to support their families, in the Philippines and provide well for them. It's really great.
Well, I just think it's a very amazing opportunity for people to get support. And it's a very cost effective approach to see if it's something that can actually work for people. I know I was talking to you on Friday. I know your ideal client from my perspective is a chiropractic coach. If you guys are running coaching groups out there and you're watching this, or you see this on replay, or you see this small clip that we create from this segment, please reach out to Justin and share his knowledge and information. Get him on to talk to your group about how he can support not only you, but the other chiropractors that you coach. I think that's a huge opportunity for you guys to leverage time and in the space with having a VA. And I think that it's really cool for people to have access to somebody that is vetted, that is teamed up with Chiro Hustle, that is somebody that I'm going to recommend so many people work with you.
Yeah, we just got Rich a VA actually. So
yeah. So Chiro Hustle's testing out our own VA here. And we've gone through the onboard process. They've trained our VA. They've matched us with the responsibilities that he's going to be able to do for us. So I think it's really cool. And that will give us that much more of a measuring stick to say, look, it's working for us and we couldn't be happier. And I think that that's a huge endorsement when we have great results as well. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's also why we offered a 2-week free trial. We just want to stand by our product, our virtual assistants, and make sure you're happy with them. So customer service is first for us.
So let me ask you, you say that you're offering this great benefit to people. What is your process with success? Like, are you having a high level of success where the 2-week free trial just turns into a satisfied customer? Or do you find people are like, yeah, I need to find somebody else? How frequent does that happen?
It happens. It's not 100%, success rate, but it's 80% success rate. So most of the time, people are happy with the people after the free trial, and they'll bring them on for sure.
That's cool, because I do think that it kind of gives people like that, in the consumer product world, they give money back guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's a good safety net for people to see that you're willing to work with them and give them something up front, create that reciprocation, and let them know that you're wanting them to win as much as they want to win for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. The best businesses are one where everybody wins, right? And that's what we're really looking for here. We want the chiropractors to win. We want them to save money. We want them to go home early, have a balanced work-life balance. We want the virtual assistants, to be happy. We want them to be able to make money, and for them to be able to support their family as well, and then we get a little bit as well. So everybody wins.
So let's just walk people through the process. If they called you today, what's the next step for them?
Yeah. So if they called me today, if they know what they want already, just send me like a job ad or a job description. If they've been looking for help, if they've been going through like that mill of hiring people and firing people, they have, a job description already lined up. Just send that over to me. I know everything that you are looking for, and then I can kind of go and look for those candidates for you, and try and get that virtual assistant for you right away. Usually it takes about a week for me to find somebody for you, but I can get somebody for you pretty quickly as far as that goes. If you're not sure what you're looking for, or what you have been kind of looking for is not working out for you, or you may be thinking about like a new position that you're going to be open up or expanding your marketing and you're looking for some help or something like that, then we'll have a longer conversation, right? Just still give me a call. We'll book a time for a longer conversation. We'll do that practice analysis. We'll ask you a lot more questions, find out more about what's going on, what the priorities are, what your needs are, and then we can kind of draft up that job description, that position, and then we can kind of fill you in on what we think is possible to do, what we think is not possible to do, and where we can go in between all of that.
I guess I kind of asked this earlier, but what are some of the most popular tasks that you've seen VAs doing for the clients?
Really, the top two, number one, phone calls. Phone calls, that's basically the lifeline of, any practice, right? If you're not answering the phones, if you're not talking to your patients, if you're not booking those appointments, you're going to be in trouble, right? So you got to make sure your phones are being answered at least 90% of the time, right? And those phone calls are getting booked. Number two, really insurance verifications, collections, and whatnot. Because if you're not getting paid for what you're doing, you're going to be in big trouble as well, right? So make sure you're getting the insurance verified, making sure they're eligible for your offerings, your modalities that you do. And then if you are more cash-based, making sure that you're able to collect from these people, all right? Making sure that they're not dodging you and not paying for the services that you provided. So, and those are not friendly conversations to have, right? Those are not always pleasant conversations. But these virtual assistants, like I said, they're trained, and they're happy to take on these calls, to help support you. So really a lot of insurance and calls, I would say, be the top two really big things here. The third one would be if you needed like admin work done, data entry, posting on social media, managing like your fax inbox or anything like that, doing research for you. Like my virtual assistant, for example, books all my travel plans, all my hotel plans, and all my lodging. She orders me lunch every day, so I don't have to think about that. That's like 20 minutes that I don't have to think about, and to save myself 20 minutes a day or something like that, And then the fourth thing would be any medical assisting that you would need. Any like scribing will be a big one for a lot of chiropractors. You don't want to be taking notes home, doing pajama time, spending time writing notes while you're at your son's soccer practice or something, right? Or soccer game, right? You want to be 5 o'clock, go home, work is done, right? You don't have to worry about the notes or anything like that. So getting a scribe in can really help with that as well.
Yeah, I just think there's so many different things. And honestly, I believe that when somebody comes onto a team, they become an integral part of that business.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's a big takeaway I had from you when we had our last call was you set people up for success to where the virtual assistant really becomes an actual team member and almost becomes as close as family. So I think it's great that they build those working relationships and they start understanding the significance of planning and taking things off the plate and adding more quality hours to people's lives and helping them grow the business. And it's really a cost-effective plan.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had virtual assistants who are actually now like the longest tenured employee of their doctor. They've been there like 4 or 5 years, and they're like the most senior person in the practice, right? So that's what we want. We want something that's going to be long-term success for the doctors, and something, once again, that the virtual assistants, they're happy to be working there day in and day out. They're excited to come to work, and that's just it's different nowadays in America. I hate to say it, but work ethic is different now. People I mean, since COVID, I would say people just want to get paid and not show up to work, right? I'm sure people, if you have people call in sick or the day of or don't show up, I've had people with horror stories that they do interviews, they booked an interview and the guy never shows up for his interview, right? So hiring people nowadays is not easy. If you got great staff, you're one of the lucky few. That's great. So keep it up. You're doing something right, but if you have that, Ferris wheel or that turntable that just keeps going around, you're hiring and firing people, then a virtual assistant may be the solution for you.
So I know that you probably get into a lot of situations where somebody has like a staff member that's been there a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just two people running the office. What have you seen has been the best way to support that staff member also with the VA? Because I know it's not just doctors that need the support. I know that it's a whole business that needs support. Have you seen acceptance or resistance from that?
Yeah, it can go both ways. It can go both ways, really. For people who tend to be more tenured in their position,
Yep.
over time, there just more gets added onto their plate and whatnot.
Or they get stuck in their ways and they're like, I don't want to work with somebody else. I do it my
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Or they can be like, stuck in that like rut and they just want to be doing their own thing there. But really what the goal is of the virtual assistant is not to replace anybody, really. You need your staff locally. You need people to smile when people walk in through the door, right? You need people to help room patients, right? You need people to do procedures, right? And that's really what the focus of the local staff should be, is to provide that excellent care for anybody who walks in through that door. Anything else is stuff that they don't need to do. Like, how annoying is it? I'm sure this happened to everybody. They go up to the front desk and the phone rings right then and there, and the guy's going to pick up the phone over talking to you because you're already in here. The guy on the phone, he has to close that sale or he has to, book that appointment. So they're taking the priority of the phone call and you're just stuck waiting there as a patient for like 5 minutes, twiddling your thumbs, right? Nobody likes that, right? So you really, if somebody walks in through the door, they should get 100% of your attention, right? And you should be generating revenue for the clinic if you can, right? So whatever you can to do physically to generate revenue, that's what, the local staff should be doing. Filling out paperwork, phone calls, calling insurance companies, like all that stuff. I mean, you can do, but it's not really worth their time when a virtual assistant can do it for a fraction of the price.
Well, I think you just see the business model shifting. I
Mm-hmm.
think that we do have like a global economy also. We have a global network of people that are supporting business and we're learning business to make it better. Like that's the thing about collaboration. That was, I go back to this call I had with you, but
Mm-hmm.
when you start to understand collaboration at a new level, you start to understand that we can do things more effectively. We just have to know who to trust. And
Mm-hmm.
we have to know the network to work with. And that's the beautiful thing about podcasting, in my opinion, is we get a chance to network and feature with people that we might not have access to any other way. But the people
Mm-hmm.
that watch what we do wouldn't know where to source, how to get a coach or how to get an EHR or how to get a VA or where to support, what colleges are reputable. I think that there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
that goes into building a network and a community. And I think everybody needs to have a VA. So go to coolblueva.com. Close this out with a miracle story. You said that you've seen people integrate from your organization into people's offices and really helped them out. Tell us one of those stories about how you've helped somebody's business with that.
Yeah, so about a year ago now, actually, I was working with an office and they came to me because their phones were getting answered, actually. So they had a couple front desk workers, but they were really, they had grown really quickly. And so they weren't staffed. And I talked to them, and basically over like half their calls weren't getting answered. So like 50% of their calls were not getting answered. They're going to voicemail. And the patients who did were kind enough to wait on the phone or patient enough to wait on the phone actually were waiting for like 7 minutes to get their phone call answered. It was kind of crazy when I heard that. I couldn't believe it really, but then I saw the numbers and it was actually true. you know. And so we actually got them 2 VAs to start off with, because they needed the help. And then within the span of the first 30 days, the calls had dropped. So the answer rate had gone up to about 75% already. And the call time was down to like a minute. So it was really like huge improvements. And then by the second month, their call answer rate was up to like 85%, and the call wait time was down to like 45 seconds. So, they were super happy. Business was booming again. They were able to cater to everybody. The customers love it. The patients love it because they're getting their phone calls answered. They're getting their questions answered, and so everybody's just super happy about that, right?
So it builds business speed and efficiency.
Exactly.
What type of calls were these? Were these from marketing campaign calls, or were they from people wanting to book appointments?
It was a combination of both, which is really the scary part, because if it's a marketing call, no marketing call, a person is going to wait 7 minutes to talk to somebody, right? That's ludicrous. I'm hanging up after 20 seconds, So and that was the scary part. They had like opened up this marketing campaign that was doing so well, and then they just couldn't answer the phones in time, and so they were losing business because of that. And then it was hurting their existing patients because the existing patients were waiting on hold, because all the lines are taken up.
Yeah, I can see where that would cause a big problem.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is everybody wants 40 new patients a month, but they don't know how to process 40 new patients a month. And everybody wants growth and everybody wants to, see more people, but they don't know how to expand to grow and see that many people.
Yeah. There's a lot involved with that, right? It's not only answering the phone calls is the first part. You got to do all the paperwork afterwards, which takes time. Then you got to call the insurance companies, make sure that they can come in as a patient, which takes time. So there's a whole slew of stuff that has to go on with that. And, it just takes time. It's tough to pay somebody $25 an hour. It's worth it, but it's way more worth it if you could pay somebody $9.95 an hour,
Yeah. I just think that everybody's ideal situation is the one we just discussed. Everybody wants to grow, but they don't realize the growing pains. They don't realize the mountain of reports that happen now when you get 40 patients a month. They or an effective marketing campaign where people are trying to call you and schedule. Like everybody wants to have that growth until they have to figure out how to manage it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where you can come in really clutch for them.
Yeah. Not to mention that, that's ad spend that you're spending money that's going down the drain, so you're burning it at both ends at that point. Right?
Lost prospects.
Lost prospects. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that that's every chiropractor's dream, is to have like an on-call continuous booking practice, but they just don't know how to support it. And a lot of times people burn out, and then they get so busy in the business side of it that they don't enjoy doing the practice side of it as much. So it's important to have everybody be able to have the support and to be able to breathe and to see sustainable growth patterns in their business rather than peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard place to be too.
Yeah. Exactly. You used to do calls, right? You used to bring in patients.
Oh yeah. I mean, new patient acquisition is something that takes a lot of skill and knowledge. But the thing is the people that work at those offices, like I'm going to go to an event this weekend. I'll book in 30 new people over the next 2 weeks. Now, if that clinic isn't trained very, very well, first day, get the paperwork. First day, do the verification. First day, do the exams, do the x-rays, do all that 30 times more than what you're typically doing over a 2-week period. That can cause a log jam and a backlog of process at that clinic and really stress people out. It stresses the staff out. If the doctor's not prepared for it, it can stress them out. It can
Mhm.
damage their current patient base.
Mhm.
So we have to be careful how we do marketing, and we have to be careful how we have people trained to be able to process the flow. And if you're not prepared for it, it can really hurt a business too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because then it hurts your reputation, right? If you're not doing it right, and people say,
Well,
"Yeah, I was at this doctor's, and then they actually couldn't see me. I was waiting there for like an hour, right?" And then they
I
made
got
this.
this special offer. They didn't call me back. They didn't
Yeah.
refund me my money.
Mhm.
It causes all these secondary issues.
Yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and so it's a really important just to have great, customer service, like you said, and just getting your phones answered, like, is going to help with that. People hate leaving voicemails. People hate getting their calls ignored, you know, and then playing phone tag, right?
The first thing that I learned working in a chiropractic clinic was two words: systems and efficiency.
Hmm.
And I was told that the better systems we had, the more efficient we were, the more people we could help. And then they told me my job was to help more people. I said, great, I can do all that. So, as much as I resisted the systems, as much as I resisted the idea of building efficiency modeling, I saw how it had an impact on everything in the world. And
Hmm.
it did free people up actually to help more people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and systems is super important. This is a free tip for everybody. If you do get a virtual assistant, make sure you record any training session that you have with them. And then so you have that recording of the training so they can always go back and refer to it. If you need to train somebody else, you don't have to be the one to train them. Just pull out the recording and say, hey, watch this video. This is it. This is how you do it. Right. And it's a very super simple way to do things. And eventually the virtual assistant can watch that video and turn it into a document, an SOP for you, right? An operating procedure. And so then you have a written document that you can always hand out, so that's really, what our virtual assistants are designed to do. There's a little bit of work involved, but it's going to go a long ways to help you out.
Yeah, have a learning library of content that
Hmm.
if somebody says, hey, I don't like working here anymore, it's just 2 weeks. Now
Hmm.
there's resources that people can learn that job too. And,
Exactly.
I know a lot of docs out there, I'm just being really honest, like they'll lose somebody and they're like, I don't know how to do that job.
Yeah, that person did everything, right? Now you're stuck.
Now you have to build new systems with no resources and no learning
Yeah.
library. And I think that that's really a big takeaway from today's interview for anybody out there watching. Like, create SOPs for the positions that matter, the things
Mhm.
that make you money. Like, have that down as how people can, if somebody just decided to leave tomorrow, somebody else could come in and support you and help you and learn
Mhm.
and implement systems with you, because really that's what businesses are. They're just a bunch of systems that flow together and
Exactly.
they create invoices. And the better you are at the business, the more invoices you get.
That's a great way, but I've never thought of it that way, but that's a great way to put it. Yeah, that's 100% what it is. You know, you just gotta get the
Small
systems in
systems that
and get
create
the calls
invoices.
going, and then just prints out an invoice, right?
And if you get 40 new patients a month, hey, I think you have a pretty nice practice. And if
Exactly.
you have people to assist that growth, even a better practice. Quality of life on both sides of the equation, ease of implementation, 2 weeks free trial, um, 9.95 going forward per hour for these virtual assistants. I just think it's a different scenario, and it's a way for people as busy practitioners to get support. And we've identified our ideal clients. If you guys made it this far and you want to work with Justin, reach out to coolblueva.com and try his 2 week trial. And he'll walk you through the process of how it looks to work with him and get the support from his team. Justin, thank you for being our guest today on episode 713 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to share with our audience today?
No, no. I think it was a great time, great conversation, you know. Thanks for having me on once again. And yeah, if anybody wants, just give us a call. Phone number, if you really want it, is
Sure.
714-695-8000. That's 714-695-8000.
Awesome, Justin. Well, thank you for being our guest today and have a good night. And I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Take care, guys.
All right. I'll close like I always do. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.